हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब अच्छे होंगे। चैप्टर नंबर 61, द कलेक्टर, फ्रॉम द बुक थिफ, रिटन बाय मार्कस ड्यूजैक। कैसे हैं दोस्तों आप लोग। ये हमारा नया चैप्टर है। ओके, मुझे नेक्स्ट बुक ज़रूर से कमेंट में सजेस्ट कीजिए। ये थोड़ी सी रह गई है, बिल्कुल इतनी रह गई, बस कुछ दिन में ख़त्म हो जाएगी। आप सजेस्ट कीजिए कुछ बुक्स जब अपन स्टार्ट करेंगे। ओके, बाय फॉर नाउ, एंड वी विल स्टार्ट दिस द चैप्टर 61, द कलेक्टर। Neither Hans Huberman nor Alex Stina were sent to fight. Alex was sent to Styria, or an army hospital outside Vienna. Given his expertise in tailoring, he was given a job that at least resembled his profession. Cartloads of uniforms and socks and shirts would come in every week, and he would mend what needed mending, even if they could only be used as underclothes for the suffering soldiers in Russia. A necessary explanation: LSE, Luftwaffen Sondereinheit, एयर फोर्स स्पेशल यूनिट। ये सब जो है लैंग्वेज कुछ डिफरेंट है, मुझे बराबर से प्रोनाउंस करने नहीं आती। आप मुझे सब चीज़ कमेंट में बता सकते कि उसको कैसा प्रोनाउंस करते हैं, कैसा करते हैं और कौन सी लैंग्वेज है ये। The job of the LSE was to remain above ground during air raids and put out fires, prop up the walls of buildings, and rescue anyone who had been trapped during the raid, as Hans would soon discover. There was also an alternative definition for the acronym. The men in the unit would explain to him on his first day that it really stood for Legion Samuel Lirihint, dead bodies collectors. When he arrived, Hans could only guess what those men had done to deserve such a task, and in turn, they wondered the same of him. Their leader, Sergeant Boris Skipper, asked him straight out. When Hans explained the bread, the juice, and the whip, the round-faced sergeant gave out a short spurt of laughter. "You are lucky to be alive." His eyes were also round, and he was constantly wiping them. They were either tired or itchy or full of smoke and dust, just a reminder that the enemy here is not in front of you. Hans was about to ask the obvious question when a voice arrived from behind. Attached to it was the slender face of a young man with a smile like a sneer. "Reinhold Zucker with us," he said. "The enemy isn't over the hill or in any specific direction. It's all around." He returned his focus to the letter he was writing. "You will see. In the messy space of a few months, Reinhold Zucker would be dead. He would be killed by Hans Huberman's seat." As the war flew into Germany with more intensity, Hans would learn that every one of his shift started in the same fashion. The men would gather at the truck to be briefed on what had been hit during their break, what was most likely to be hit next, and who was working with whom. Even when no raids were in operation, they did still be a great deal of work to be done. They would drive through broken towns, cleaning up. In the truck there had been 12 slouched men. Rising, एडजस्ट कर रही हूँ, एक मिनट, ठीक है, थैंक यू। 12 slouched men, all rising and falling, the various inconsistencies in the road. From the beginning, it was clear that they all owed a seat. Reinhold Zucker was in the middle of the left row. Hans Huberman was at the work back, where the daylight stretched itself out. He learned quickly to be on the lookout for any rubbish that might be thrown from anywhere in the truck's interior. Hans reserved a special respect for cigarette butts still burning as they whistled by. A complete letter home. To my dear Rosa and Liesel, everything is fine here. I hope you are both well. With love, Papa. In late November, he had his first spooky taste of an actual raid. Not be a beer at all, but a kind of milkshake or porridge. All four men were plastered with the grey and white conglomeration of dust. When they stood up fully to resume work, only small cracks of the uniform could be seen. The sergeant walked to Grand Walker. He brushed heavily at his chest. Several smacks. That's better. You had some dust there, my friend. As Birenberg laughed, the sergeant turned to his newest recruit. You first this time, Huberman. They put the fires out for several hours, and they found anything they could do to convince a building to remain standing. In some cases, where the sides were damaged, the remaining edges poked out like elbows. This was Hans Huberman's strong point. He almost came to enjoy finding a smoldering rafter or disheveled slab of concrete to prop those elbows up, to give them something to rest on. His hands were packed tightly with splinters, and his teeth were caked with residue from the fallout. Those both lips were set with moist dust that had hardened, and there wasn't a pocket of a thread or a hidden crease in his uniform that wasn't covered in a film left by the loaded air. The worst part of the job was the people. Once in a while, there was a person roaming doggedly through the fog, mostly single worded. They always shouted a name. Sometimes it was Wolfgang. Have you seen my Wolfgang? Their handprints would remain on his jacket. Stephaniel Hanse. Stephaniel Hansi Gusti Gustel Stubor. As the destiny subsided, the roll call of names limped through the ruptured streets, sometimes ending with an ash-filled embrace or a knelt-down howl of grief. They accumulated hour by hour like street and soul dreams waiting to happen. The dangers merged into one. powder and smoke and the gusty flames that damaged people like the rest of the men in the unit. Hans will need to perfect the art of forgetting. How are you, Huberman? The sergeant asked at one point. Fire was at his shoulder. Hans nodded uneasily at the pair of them. Midway through the shift, there was an old man who staggered defenselessly through the stress. As Hans finished stabilizing a building, he turned to find him at his back, waiting calmly for his turn. A blood stain was signed across his face. He it trailed off down his throat and neck. It was wearing a white shirt with a dark red collar, and he held his leg as if it was the next to him. Could you prop me up now, young man? Hans picked up and carried him out of the haze. A small sad note. I visited that small city street with the man still in Hans Huberman's arms. The sky was white horse grey. It wasn't until he placed him down on a patch of concrete coated grass that Hans noticed. What it is? One of the other men asked. Hans could only point. Oh, a hand pulled him away. Get used to it, Huberman. For the rest of the shift he threw himself into his duties. He tried to ignore the distant echoes of people calling. After perhaps 2 hours, he rushed from the building ahead of the sergeant and another two men. He didn't watch the ground and tripped. Only when he returned to his haunches and saw the others looking in distress at the obstacle, and he realized the corpse was face down. It lay in a blanket of powder and dust, and it was holding his ears. It was a boy, perhaps 11 or 12 years old. Not far away as they progressed along the street, they found a woman calling the name Rudolph. She was drawn to the four men and met them in the mist. Her body was frail and bent with worry. Have you seen my boy? How old is he? The sergeant asked. 12. Oh Christ, oh crucified Christ. They all thought it, but the sergeant could not bring himself to tell her or point the way. As the woman tried to push past, Boris Skipper held her back. We have just come from that street, he assured her. You won't find him down there. The bent woman still clung to hope. She called over her shoulder as she half walked, half ran. Rudy. Hans Huberman thought of another Rudy then, the Himmel Street variety, please. He asked into a sky he couldn't see. Let Rudy be safe. His thoughts naturally progressed to Liesel and Rosa and the Steinors and Max. When they made it to the rest of the man, he dropped down and lay on his back. How was it down there? Someone asked. Papa's lungs were full of sky. A few hours later, when he did washed and eaten and thrown up, he attempted to write a detailed letter home. His hands were uncontrollable, forcing him to make it short. If he could bring himself the remainder, would be told verbally when and if he made it home. To my dear Rosa and Liesel, he began. It took many minutes to write those 6 words down. यहाँ पे होता है हमारा चैप्टर नंबर 61 ख़त्म. मिलेंगे हम नेक्स्ट चैप्टर में विद चैप्टर नंबर 62 द ब्रेड ईटर्स फ्रॉम द बुक The Book Thief, written by Marcus Zusak. Bye for now, my dear friends, and thank you, my viewers and subscribers, everyone. Thank you very much. Bye for now.